Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Raha, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone who do rule and teach well. Peace and blessings, salutations, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, to the hopefully elect. So another racial incident between Jacob and Esau, and our people still don't seem to understand that the dynamic between the so-called black man and the so-called white man is bigger than skin color. You see, because you have different nations that are just as dark, if not darker than this Jake right here. All right, prime example being the East Indian. You got some Cambodians, some Vietnamese out there, that are just as dark, if not darker than this Jake you see on the screen. But our people are still hung up on they hate us because of our skin color. Well, that's part of it, because these red devils, they ain't got no melanin, they ain't got nothing going on. Ain't nobody checking for them, and the world is seeing that they the damn devil. But the hatred that Esau has for Jake goes beyond the skin color. All right, you got more flavor than they do. You got more, you're more of a royal class of people. Even in our lower state. You look at Esau compared to Jake in America, it's like night and day. They take everything that we do and they appropriate it unto themselves because they ain't got it like we do. All right, that's why you see that these Edomites, they'll assimilate to Jake culture, to use it for their benefit. But then when they get up, what's the first thing they do? They go back to their people, and they that was like a phase for their whole, for their life. You see. But these Edomites, this is a spiritual hatred. All right, this is an ancient spiritual hatred. All right, that goes all the way back, to the garden. You see. And when you go Genesis, let's go to Genesis real quick. Genesis, the 3rd chapter, right? Because the Lord said that he would put enmity between the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. You see? This is Genesis 3:14. And the Lord Yahweh said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. You see? So when you go into the word enmity right here, just getting the basic definition, it means hostility, a state or feeling of active opposition or hostility. Okay? And a similar word would be hatred. All right? So these Edomites, from the time of the garden, the Lord put that division between the seed of the serpent, okay, which current day would be these Edomites. All right? Back then, it was the seed of Cain. You see? Today it's these so-called white people, these Edomites out here, and the seed of the woman, right, which would represent the Israelites, the 12 tribes. All right? And you wonder why, Trump is, throwing Northern Kingdom into these detention camps, alligator Alcatraz. That's nothing more than pure hatred, man. All right? Pure cruelty to do that. But again, that's the hatred that the devil have for you. All right? So we're going to check out this video, and you're going to see that these Edomites, they hate Jake with a passion, right? And this Jake looked like he could whoop both of their ass, man. All right, but because he out there doing the job, and he was basically recording for his own safety. But this is this is what Jake has been having to deal with, since we've been in the land of America, Babylon the Great. And just to show you that, some people say, oh, it's 2025, you still got people out. Yes, 2025, 1925, 1825, it's always been this way, because as we just read in Genesis 3, there has been enmity put between the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. So this is an ancient hatred once again, man. So
he's recording us. That's right, record me. Take your black ass out of here, motherfucker. You're fucking soliciting the wrong person.
Take your black ass out of here if you get fucked up. Don't come cussing my door, motherfucker. Fuck you and your phone. Get your fucking ass.
Yeah, so you see that the Edomite, he actually stepping to Jake. He's actually stepping to him, man. Following him. All right. And really, he was on their property, so they do have the right to tell him to leave the property. But once he got on the sidewalk, all right, if he would have, stepped to him again, he would have been liable to put him down. All right. But no doubt, this is Jake, he recorded it, probably went back and told the boss, yeah, well, this is what happened when I went to this home. I ain't going over there no more.
Motherfucker.
Get off my property now.
Get the fuck out of here. Record that shit. Come back again, I'll fucking hang your ass.
Now. Good. I hope you show your employers. Show your employers, because this is what your employees do.
You dumb fucking nigger. It says no soliciting. Get your black ass the fuck out of here. You come back again, we'll hang you.
Don't go over his house either.
He don't want nothing. It says no.
Yeah, so you see, they even called him the N-word. All right. And this is how these Edomites really feel about you Jakes out there. Okay. The only reason why you don't see this at a more heightened level, well, you are starting to see it, because there's been a lot of incidents happening recently with racial tension that the media have been blowing up, because they trying to incite race war, all right, between Jacob and Esau. And eventually, according to the scriptures, it is going to happen. There is going to be wars in the streets, race wars, if you will, so-called black against so-called white. These things are prophesied, and we'll get that. But you see, just the pure hatred that these Edomites have for Jake, and he just going around trying to do his job. But the moment that they seen him, just this burning hatred just overcame them to where they couldn't control themselves. All right. So hey man, you Jakes that's out there that want to save the so-called, these so-called white people. Oh, they're not all bad. Not all white people are bad. Okay. Just you wait until Jacob's trouble. All right. They're going to show you how bad that they really are. All right. The only reason why you ain't got more Edomites in his spirit now is because they're still relatively comfortable. All right. But hey, we live in an unhinged society. And when people begin to lose, that's when all the compassion goes out the window. All right. And guess what? These Edomites, they're gonna band together. They're gonna stick with their own people. All right. Pretty much in this time, all nations are gonna, cleave unto their own, because that's just gonna be the vibration out here. All right. So in the time of Jacob's trouble, you Jakes out there that love Esau, that want to save him oh so bad, and that can't live without the so-called white man. Hey, you already see what DJT is doing. You already see how many prisons and detention centers that he's building. Who you think is going to be in there? It's going to be you Jakes. All right. It's going to be the Israelites that he's going to throw in there, man. And he's even going to throw some of his own in there as collateral damage. But he really wants to get you Jakes out the way, because he sees that his kingdom is falling. And that's another reason why these Edomites are mad, because they see that their beloved America is going down the drain. All right, and they bought into the propaganda of the media that it's these blacks, it's these blacks that are destroying America, right? When you got Agent Orange, all right, the devil that's up in the White House, they still believe in this nigga. But the average Jake is just trying to go around, do his job, he gets cussed out, he gets threatened, called the N-word and all this, type of stuff. But, the good thing is the day is coming where, the Lord gonna give us spiritual power, to get down on these Edomites, all right? They time is coming. So this Jake did the right thing, They ain't put hands on him, so, he was well within his right to record and just, leave the property. All right? So,
listen, get your black ass out of here. You're fucked up.
You want me to take your house? Oh, he's recording.
Yo, I know Jake wanted to just put both of them down, man. Like you saw the look on his face at the end. He like, shh, I could just put these crackers. Jake is like, yo, if I was not at work right now, I'm out of Because, hey, man, Jake is about tired of you devils, man. All right? Jake is tired. Because this has been going on for way too long, and, there's never been any justice. All right? So let's go Genesis 27, man, because, going back to the beginning. Genesis, no, not 37, 27. Salakia. One moment. Genesis, the 27th chapter. In verse 41. Okay, we know the story. Jacob came in, supplanted the birthright from Esau, which Esau, already sold his blessing to Jacob for one morsel of meat. So that nigga ain't care about the blessing, man. All right, but Jacob came, gave Isaac, some venison to eat, and Isaac ate, and he blessed Jacob, which it was already prophesied to be that way, so it ain't really like Jacob did nothing wrong. I mean, the blessing was always meant to go to Jacob, but the Lord just had it happen in a controversial way because that's just the way that the Lord wanted it to go down. It adds to the dramatics of the movie. So it just happened in a very controversial way, but it was already prophesied that it would go down like that. But anyway, this is Genesis 27:41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. All right, so ever since Esau pretty much lost his blessing, right, lost his birthright, all right, he's hated Jacob because of it, and he's always had in his heart that he would slay his brother. All right, that's why when you go back to the brutality of slavery, all right, going back to those days, man, and see the type of stuff that Esau was doing to Jake during slavery, that's not how a master, biblically speaking, was supposed to deal with his slave. Because, after all, a slave is a servant. All right, so if you're going to have a slave, you're still supposed to deal with your slave in a humane way. All right, really, you're supposed to deal with your slave as an extension of yourself. All right, of course, that's if that slave is not a prisoner of war, you know what I'm saying? But if you took that individual under your wing because he had to pay off a debt, or if he was just down on hard times, whatever the case was, you know what I'm saying, you weren't supposed to treat your slave or your servant like a less than a beast. But see, the way Esau dealt with us, he dealt with us that way because of that hatred, because of that perpetual hatred that he's had for us. You know what I'm saying? Esau was doing all type of shit in slavery. All right, raping our women, buck breaking the men. Cutting out pregnant women's stomachs, taking out the babies, stomping on it, feeding it to dogs. Alligator bait. The KKK. Hey man, hanging. The list goes on. All right, we already know all the atrocities that Esau done, and that's all because of that ancient hatred. You see, and then when you go Genesis the 4th chapter, all right, because we know that Jacob and Esau are pretty much Cain and Abel come back after the flood. Right, so when you go to Genesis 4 and verse 8, because it was pretty much the same thing happened. All right, because Cain and Abel brought a righteous sacrifice unto the Lord and sacrificed it, and the Lord blessed Abel, because he was pleased with his sacrifice. And then Cain didn't bring the right offering. Cain didn't bring the right sacrifice, so he was not accepted. So because the Lord blessed Abel and not him, we'll just read it. This is Genesis 4 and verse 5. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? So Cain brought a wicked sacrifice unto the Lord, and he still wanted the Lord to accept him as he was. Okay, but Cain was wicked as all hell. Because all Cain had to do was do what was required, but it wasn't in his spirit to do what was required. It was in Cain's spirit to do what he wanted to do. All right, which is to rebel against the commandment of the Heavenly Father, man. Which is why he wasn't accepted. Verse 7, it says, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? Yeah, so Cain, if you would have done the right thing, if you would have done what I told you to do, then you would have been accepted. And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Verse 8, and Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. You see? So it's the same thing, man. All right, just like as we read in Genesis 27th chapter. Esau said, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother. All right, Cain pretty much had the same thing in his heart. All right, because Cain, no doubt when they went out there in the field and they was talking, Cain already had murder on his mind. All right, Cain was already plotting on getting Abel out of there since the whole thing went down. You see, and that's that murderous envious jealousy that's within these Edomites to this very day. Right, the seed of Cain, man. So what you just saw in that video, man, that's one of many examples, all right, that confirms that they are indeed the Edomites. All right, because Esau really only got that energy for you jakes like that. Okay, but really Esau just a damn devil, so he hate every damn body. You know what I'm saying? But he got a special hatred for you Israelites, or you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You see? So this thing goes way back. This ain't nothing new. This ain't got nothing to do with no skin color. This is a spiritual thing. Everything goes back to the spirit. Like I mentioned earlier, you go to Genesis 49. There are going to be race wars, man. And this is the time in which Jake is being stirred up. All right, you had that movie Sinners that came out a few months ago, and white people went to go see it, and they started leaving the theater because it pretty much put it out there that they the damn devil that the Bible speaks of, man. And that was a great movie, by the way. I would recommend any of you Akim and Aqua who haven't seen it, to go watch that movie. It's a great movie to watch through the spirit, to know what's going on in these last days. Okay, so this is Genesis 49 and verse 9. It says, Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and is an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? So right now, man, Jake is being roused up, because it's just been endless oppression from these Edomites since day one. All right? Since day one, man. So Jake is at the point, it's like, yo, enough is enough. We're going to have to come together. And see, Esau really don't want that smoke, man. All right, because really the only reason why Esau has been able to do what he's been doing to Jake for so long is, number one, because be under the curses, and it's really, because Esau, he's the sword of Yahweh Bashmel Shai. So the Lord is sick of Esau on us. You know what I'm saying? But we in a time now where the Lord, he's flipping the script, and these Edomites, now they starting to, the curses are now being flipped on them. Okay, so we in a time, man, Jake, the Lord about to put a different spirit on Jake to really turn up on these Edomites, and it's really going to be the wrath of the Lord. It's going to come on these Edomites through the hands of his people. All right. But yeah, as it says, man, who shall rouse him up? And, the oppression of this society, just these Edomites on BS every single day, incidents like what you saw in that video, right? Then you had that, I think it was like 2 years ago, or damn near 2 years ago, you had that brawl, where Jake was at that dock, and it was like a Royal Rumble between, Esau and Jake. You had the one Jake jump in the water and swim over, to help out. You know what I'm saying? You had the one Edomite woman get hit with a chair. That right there, man, shows you that, when Jake comes together, that you Edomites, you don't stand a chance, man. All right? Only reason why Esau been getting away with his BS for so long is because Jake has been divided. Right? Jake banging on each other, Bloods, Crips, GDs, BDs, whatever. Jake is divided as hell, but even these Edomites, they're more divided than Jake. All right? Esau, hey, them Edomites got a whole lot going on, even within their community, man. So they can't even come together, because even with stuff like this, like you'll have Edomites say, oh, they'll applaud the white couple for how they dealt with Jake. Then you got other Edomites that be like, nah, this is wrong. We're in 2025. We can't, this is hatred, So you'll have some Edomites that's on that kick too, but overall, Jake is about to get busy on these Edomites, man. Okay, and let's go to 2nd Ezra 13. 2nd Ezra 13 in verse 31. Because the scriptures talk about there being sedition in these last days. Neighbor rising up against neighbor. All right, this is verse 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another. All right, so that right there entails what? Race wars, man. All right, it's going to be one people, one nation against another. Same thing you read in Luke 21, Matthew 24, Mark, all right, in one realm against another. All right, so the time is going to come where there are going to be heightened racial tensions like what you saw in past times. And that's all going to entail the time of Jacob's trouble. You see, because when it gets down to the wire and these Edomites see that their kingdom is pretty much over with, that it's done, that there is no saving it, because DJT was these Edomites' last hope. He was the great white hope that was supposed to come in and, MAGA, make America great again, right? But they see that their rights are being taken away and that they getting the short end of the stick. But in the midst of that, these Edomites are going to reveal how they truly feel about you Jakes. You know what I'm saying? All that PC and go along and get along, all that's about to go out the window, man. All right? It's about to be some heavy race wars soon come. So yeah. You see this right here, man? All right, this is the face of a Jake that is tired of oppression. You see, and very soon, the Most High is going to give his elect, spiritual power to rise up against the enemy, but in due time. All right. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and close out. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Call Halal, Yahweh, Bashim El Shai, Bashim El Kakadash. Until next time, Shalom.
He's recording us.
Fuck you.
That's right, record me.
Take your black ass out of here,
You're fucking
motherfucker.
soliciting the wrong person.
Take your black ass out of here. You fucked up. Don't come cussing my door, motherfucker. Fuck you and your phone. Get your fucking ass beat, motherfucker.
Get off my property
Get the
now.
fuck out of here. Record that shit. Come back again, I'll fucking hang your ass.
Now. Good. I hope you show your employers. Show your employers, because this is what your employees do.
You dumb fucking nigger. It says no soliciting. Get your black ass the fuck out of here. You come back again, we'll hang you.
Don't go over his house either.
He don't want nothing. It says no soliciting. Get your black ass out of here. You get fucked up.
You want him at your house? He's soliciting.
It says no
Oh, he's recording.